Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the incredibly funny and honestly shockingly historical roots of internet toxicity. It all comes from this amazing story, the first social troll. Look, if you've ever spent more than, 5 minutes online, you know exactly the kind of behavior we're talking about here. And today, we're going to trace its origins literally all the way back to the ancient world.
Right, so let's dive into this by asking a question that I know we've all muttered under our breath while endlessly scrolling our feeds. When exactly did we become like this? You know, when did the comment sections beneath articles, photos, and public updates turn into such an absolute battlefield of pettiness? I mean, it totally feels like a modern phenomenon, right? Just a side effect of smartphones and Wi-Fi? Well, actually, not quite.
That brings us to Section 1, Rome in 187 AD. To find the real answer, we've got to rewind all the way to 187 AD. Now, this era was a total study in contrasts. On one hand, you've got the Rome we all read about in history books, a bustling civilization completely known for its architectural marvels, legendary military triumphs, and super profound philosophical discourse. But on the flip side, you have the reality for our protagonist, a lower-class laborer named Dummshitticus. And guys, Dummshitticus was having a truly terrible day. His sandals were worn thin, his daily grain ration was late, and his intellectual contributions to society were, entirely non-existent. But his capacity for monumental spite, that was absolutely off the charts. He was just deeply, personally offended by the sheer existence of the late Senator Marcus Statiatus, who was this man of great dignity and high public standing.
Before he even picked up a chisel, Dummshitticus completely embodied the very definition of a social troll. He wasn't looking to have some grand debate with the late senator. He didn't want to engage with Marcus's policies or offer a well-reasoned counter-argument to his speeches. Nothing like that. He just wanted to feel superior. He was seeking the ancient equivalent of cheap clicks, all just to soothe his own bruised ego.
Moving on to Section 2, the first social troll and the act of ancient vandalism.
What's really fascinating here is how this actual act of vandalism went down. Just picture this. Instead of standing out in the forum offering a counter-argument to the statesman's ideas, our guy sneaks into the necropolis under the cover of dusk. He's armed with absolutely nothing but a rusty iron chisel, and he sets his sights right on the pristine marble tomb of the esteemed statesman. He gets to work with these clumsy, aggressive strokes, defacing a sacred monument literally just because he's in a bad mood. And here is exactly what he carved directly into that sacred stone. With these bold, clumsy letters, Dummshitticus was unknowingly taking the very first step in minting the currency of internet culture. He stepped back, dusted the marble shavings right off his tunic, and felt this profound, intoxicating rush of unearned superiority.
So the crucial point to take away from this wasn't some profound political statement protesting taxation or military overreach. Not at all. It roughly translates to, Marcus sucks dill pickles. Yep, it was just a completely unprovoked dill pickle-themed insult. Dummshitticus became the world's very first social troll, right then and there.
Let's look at what happens next in Section 3, the ancient comment section. You know, when the Roman citizens discovered this defaced tomb the very next morning, you'd think they would be universally horrified, right? But no. Some of them actually smirked, and then a rival laborer named Interruptus took out his own chisel and carved this quote right underneath the original insult. Fake news. Marcus actually prefers olives. By engaging with the troll, Interruptus officially started the world's very first comment thread. And almost immediately, a third citizen jumped into the fray. But they didn't even add to the debate about the pickles or the olives. They literally just carved the Latin numeral for first, proving absolutely that the frantic, desperate race for the top comment is way, way older than the printing press. Humanity had officially crossed a threshold, and there was no going back. The pristine tomb of a respected Roman hero had been successfully and completely converted into a public comment section. The sacred had become entirely mundane, all just for the sake of a quick joke and a fleeting sense of attention. Which leads us to our final section, a timeless human condition. The life's work of Dummshitticus leaves us with a pretty profound, if slightly cynical, takeaway about human effort versus human destruction. Just think about step 1 here. It takes an entire lifetime of virtue, public service, and serious hard work to earn a beautiful, pristine marble tomb. Step 2, all it takes is one single bad day, fueled by worn sandals, a late grain ration, and some monumental spite. Which leads us right to step 3. In just 5 minutes, an idiot with a sharp rock and a little bit of free time can completely ruin the whole thing.
Over the centuries that followed, the descendants of Dummshitticus kept up the unprovoked hostility. Obviously, the medium changes. We moved from chisels and marble to printing presses, typewriters, keyboards, and eventually right to the smartphones in our pockets. But as you can see, the lack of maturity remains entirely constant. While our technology has evolved at an absolutely breakneck pace, our human capacity for pure, unvarnished pettiness hasn't really changed a bit since 1807 AD.
Dummshitticus died a happy man back in ancient Rome, entirely unaware of the thousands of years of digital misery he was unleashing upon his descendants. He literally had no idea what he started. Which leaves us with this final thought. Technology evolves, for sure, but pettiness is timeless. So as we scroll through our own modern-day marble tombs, we kind of have to wonder, who is carrying his rusty chisel today? And maybe more importantly, how do we make sure it isn't us? Thank you so much for joining me on this historical explainer. And hey, I hope this helps you look at your next comment section with a slightly more amused perspective.